For real. I'm not cool with this anymore.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2025 found footage horror film House on Eden. The film is written and directed by Chris Collins, who also stars in the film, as well as Selena Myers and Jason Christopher Mayer. Now they play a three-person supernatural investigation team, a paranormal investigation team. They head to different locations, film it, and put it on social media or wherever they put it. So they're heading off to what two of them think, Selena and Jay, they think is a researched paranormal investigation. However, Chris, the leader, has set up a paranormal investigation at a location that they don't expect, the other two. It hasn't been researched, they don't know anything about it, and it's a house, supposedly, that's located on Eden Street, something like that. Now, the other two aren't particularly happy about this initially because they like to know their research, they like to know a little bit about the properties, gives them more to talk about on camera, so on and so forth. But Chris wants something a little bit exciting, a little bit new, and believes very strongly that this could be a brilliant investigation. They all agree and they head there to this location that's out in the middle of nowhere, out in the middle of some woods. Very hard to find, but they get there eventually, set up the equipment and the investigation, and lo and behold, turns out to be a deeply dangerous and paranormally enhanced investigation that deeply affects all of them, and they realise fairly quickly that this could either be the best investigation they've ever done or very easily endanger their lives. Right, what are my thoughts on House on Eden? Another found footage, guys. 2025 has given us quite a few new releases in regards to found footage. Always happy to watch and review new found footage. As you know, if you watch my content, you know I'm a big fan of found footage, and I do put up a lot of reviews. Now, this one, I'd been reading a couple of, nice reviews on this one, and so I've been quite looking forward to this. I've seen a little bit of bits and pieces on it. I knew it was kind of coming out, and after watching it, I think this is certainly a fairly solid found footage film, with some very expected found footage tropes in here, I suppose. It doesn't offer anything new, it doesn't offer anything original, it doesn't play around with the formula, and I'm not saying that like it's a bad thing. I sometimes don't think you need to. Sometimes you can do it, something creative with found footage, and it works. A lot of the times it doesn't. And as you know, I talk a lot in my found footage reviews on a certain formula for found footage films that is tried and tested, and this one pretty much follows that blueprint to the letter. You've got the usual setup. Obviously, you're meeting this three-person team, two girls and a boy. You've got the girls who are in front of the camera, essentially, and you've got Jay, the guy behind the camera, doing all the technical stuff. It's quite a long setup in a sense of you get to meet them, learn a little bit about them, their sense of humour, especially Selena. So it takes a little bit of time for you to kind of be introduced to these characters, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like it's too much either. And then they are heading to the location, so it's quite a long travelling distance to get to the location. They get to the location, and then it's a slow build basically once they get there, and then things start happening pretty quickly once they get there. They basically black out for the first night, wake up the following morning, no memory of what's happened and what's gone on, and then they continue to go on from there, sort of thing, to kind of they get quite excited in some ways, quite understanding that this could be a really, really impressive location and they could actually finally catch some footage here. So it kind of does everything that you want it to do, found footage. It doesn't do anything necessarily wrong. It just doesn't do anything necessarily new either at the same time. Now, initially, I wasn't so taken with the characters. I don't know. Sometimes, I mean, it depends on you as a person whether you take to them or not. I didn't really take to the humour of some of the characters. But they certainly felt believable. They felt like real people. And again, they've quite cleverly gone with their own names as their character names, so they feel more familiar with each other, obviously. But once it starts getting to the spooky stuff, it gets to it pretty quickly. And you've got the usual noises, thumps, bangs, voices coming through them, voices coming through voice boxes. Like I say, they black out, and it keeps going up a level. You know, as the film goes on, it just keeps going on a steep incline in regards to supernatural stuff that are happening in this house, until it literally gets to a crescendo, and it does the usual found footage end of the film where it goes absolutely batshit. But in a good way. It reminded me of the ending of The Last Exorcism. I mean, it gets a bit cultish, this. But there's many signs in this film. I think one of the things that held it back for me is what I like best about good found footage is a reason to keep filming, and a reason to kind of keep you at a location to some degree. Now, there's quite a number of things that happen on this investigation that would have had me out of the door running for my life. Well, there's one thing that happened in particular that wouldn't even get me through the door. You know, as they're looking for the house, they find like this big circle where there's like things been burning in it and all that kind of stuff. It looks very cultish and very satanic. That to me would have said, don't bother, turn back now. And I get it, they're trying to get footage for other paranormal investigations, so okay, I'll forgive it, they've carried on. Then the first day they're there, they all black out. They wake up the following morning, Jay's pissed himself, and the other two are feeling really shitty and have no memory at all what's gone on. All three of them are blacked out. Now, a rational, normal person like you or I, again, you'd have packed up your shit. Well, I wouldn't even pack my shit up, I'd have been gone. I'd like, see you later, guys, I'm going. But no, they decide to stay. And then Selena starts chanting this satanic stuff. You know, that's pretty freaky and pretty spooky. If you're still there by this point, surely that's the icing on the cake, isn't it? But no, they still decide to stay. And then there's other stupid stuff. Like I say, this location is out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, literally the middle of nowhere. They make a point about saying that a few times. You know, there's no roads leading to this house or anything like that. It's in the middle of some woods, really out in the middle of nowhere. But Chris does some research on the internet while she's there. Now, this house doesn't have Wi-Fi. She does all this on a phone using Google. I'm sorry, but I just don't buy that there would be any reception at all there. You know, and even then, you know, she finds this information on Google that would scare the pants off any rational person, but not these guys. Again, they're kind of like, no, let's stay. So, for me, it stretches believability. It stretches, it breaks some of those rules that I personally have for a found footage film. You know, why you keep filming, and what keeps you at a location. What is your goal here? And there are, I think, more than a few decisions here that normal, rational people would have made different decisions than these guys, unfortunately. And obviously, it ends up, you know, costing them. Of course it does. It's found footage. So yeah, it's a decent, solid found footage film. This, I enjoyed it for sure, even though there are some things that hold it back in regards to believability and that kind of stuff, and really daft decisions that they make. But it's solid. It's got some decent scares and frights and jump scares going on here and there, and it's got a fairly gruesome ending to the film. So traditional found footage fans will probably tick a lot of boxes for you. So if you get the opportunity to check it out, I would recommend it. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this review. I will, of course, be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.